Friend. This is going to be your best friend for every project. And it's pretty straightforward. I like this one because it's a metabo. So like what I said, US resin sells this one, but they're going to be more pricey. It's going to be at least 600 bucks. So yeah, so when you buy it, it comes with the whole setup. It'll come with the shroud, it'll come with the grinder, your little handle, and then you have maybe, I can't remember if it comes with the blade. But I always recommend having a regular segment blade, which is one of these just for scuffing the floor. So I think this is a 12. This is a 12 segment, right?
No, it's an aggressive one.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's another thing too. There's also some washers you might have to just look out for. It comes with like a little washer things because the blade sometimes sits a little lower. So you have to get these little washers, and usually they carry them too. So you can just tell them I need the little extension washer because like your triggers, right?
Yep.
So this machine's gonna have a safety trigger. So you're gonna have to press this red button in, and then you press the black trigger at the same time. So you push, and it does that. So if you click on it like this, it won't go anywhere because you have to push this red one first. Okay. So you push it in, and you can also lock it in place so it just stays running. Huh?
How do you lock it?
So you just by pressing it down and just kind of holding it in place, it'll just like lock on its own. So when I push it down, it's locked in place. And then by me clicking it again, I just unlock it. I want to make that deep cut, so just kind of pick it up a little bit, turn it on. So what I like to do, instead of like having to just remove big chunks, I'll gradually like cut the front edge, work back down, and then work my way back to the edge. So like, or to the back side. So I'll start from the front and then like do like maybe 1 to 2 cuts, and then I'll kind of do 1 to 2 cuts in the middle and then 1 to 2 cuts in the back to kind of also have a smooth finish all the way through. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to look congruent, just enough. It looks just fine. Doesn't have to be perfect though.
Getting down to the rebar on that, or is that
No, that's really far down. The rebar is not about until like another 4 to 5 inches, depending on like the slab edge. But like right now, this is actually decent enough to go by compared to that massive hump. We already grinded it enough. I didn't want it to just to be a massive hump like that. Yeah. So with that, I'll pass, and then we'll just clean off this edge a little bit to make it like a little smoother, and then we'll just finish the rest of this off. And I'll let you do that one over there.
Okay.
All right. So this is really nice, look, so it has like little wheels, so you just gotta pull it forward and then back. But yeah, pretty straightforward like that. There you go. And put a little pressure on it, so then, yeah, very nice. Bondo. We have Bondo too. Yeah. We just use like regular Bondo and just touch it up, and we wait for it to finish. There's not really much to patch on this floor, honestly.
Yeah,
like,
so nice.
Yeah, so like we just have, maybe we'll patch like this little divot right here. So I like to, before I start mixing my concrete, I like walk the floor and just kind of see what I need to patch. So I'll patch that little hole right there. Where else? I'll patch this right here. This big crack right there, and then just that crack over there.
And you would leave this middle piece.
Yeah, so it's like I said, expansion joints, you'll leave them exposed. We might just clean it out a little bit though.
Now, real quick, I just want to interrupt this video. I get a lot of questions asking how we manage our jobs. What do we use for invoicing? What do we use for our website? And that one answer is we use Jobber. Now, Jobber is a CRM. It is meant for service-based businesses. So it is not just for if you have an epoxy business. It is for if you have any home, residential, service-based, blue-collar business. Now, we've been using Jobber for the past 3 months. And what it allows us to do is just streamline everything. We can send quotes. We can manage communications between clients. Our employees check in using this so we can track hours. It just allows us to have everything that our business needs and runs on in one place. So if you guys are looking for a software, something to manage your leads, somewhere to host your website and just send out invoices and have everything tracked, I would use Jobber. I have a link down where you guys can get a free 30 days.
That. So once you have all that excess, then you hit it again from the top, but flat to the floor, straight up, and you just scrape it. Because when you're doing it like how you're doing it like this, and then you do like this, you leave too much material behind. So the point of putting it straight up vertical and then scraping is that you scrape it and you leave everything. Yeah, you don't leave anything behind really. So then you just come back and kind of scrape this off, and that's it.
Okay. Awesome.
Easy peasy. Pages are not like this beat, but since like you're doing a base coat, you want it to be kind of more stiffer because you want to leave a little more material, or you want to be more jagged as putting a base coat. Or you can always just use a new squeegee, but just beware that the epoxy sometimes is thick. So you want to use something that's stiff so you can move something that's thick. So sometimes I'll use this thick one. But since we left it in the sun, it's probably going to be really watery. But yeah, so these are going to be your standard tools. You're going to have your 18-inch roller. You're going to have your 18-inch like squeegee. They come in different sizes. You don't have to use this exact size, but I'm going to use this one. They come in smaller, bigger sizes, whatever you want to use. And since this floor doesn't have any stem walls, we're just going to use 2 brushes to do the cutting and like the edging around the edge on the edges. Should be pretty straightforward. So I'll make a little batch because I don't know how fast this material dries actually, because we just got this from our supplier. But since, like I said, we don't really use like fast curing a lot of the times because we're doing metallics most of the time. So this is going to be a new material that we're also testing out to see how it dries, how fast it dries. But yeah, from when I say kits, what I mean by a kit, it means a 3-gallon kit. So this is going to be a 3-gallon kit right here. Most of your components and all of your epoxy are going to come in 3-gallon kits. So like your base coat, 3-gallon kits, your metallic and 3-gallon kits. Your sealer comes in 2-gallon kits. Like it'll come into like little smaller kits like that, which makes 2 gallons. But most of your epoxy comes in 3 gallons. So it's a 2-gallon by itself, an A, and then you have a 1 gallon of its B. So you have these two together, they go together. And make sure that labels match. So do you see how this label and this label is green? There's a label over there that's blue, and then that B should be blue. So always double check which ones you're mixing together, because you may have your base coat and your metallics together. You want to just double check you separate them so you don't use the metallic on the base coat. You're gonna activate it, so I always recommend don't ever put the B until you're actually ready to start doing it on the floor. So if you're gonna make like a measurement, like right now I'm gonna pour out a little bit so I can use it for the floor, so I just pour out some.
Especially because it cooks a lot faster in the bucket
Yeah.
than on the floor.
I think that should be fine. Just split this kit. What I usually like to do is just I'll pour the same amount and I'll put the B next to the A to see if they're they match in height, because they gotta be 1-to-1 ratio, and that usually means like 1-to-1. So I'll pour this into this, kind of stop there, and then look at where I'm at with the B and the A. I got a little more to put in there. It's perfect.
So it doesn't have to be exact, but just close.
Doing the flakes and base coats.
Once you mix that, is that done? Then you turn it on?
No, once this is mixed, yes.
Right now.
You'll see it.
Now.
So in the bucket, you have about a 20-minute pot life. On the floor, you have about 30 to 45 minutes, depending if it's a fast cure or not. If it's fast cure, you probably have like 25, 30 minutes, and it'll dry within 10 to 15 minutes in the bucket. So what I'll do, what I like to do is that I'll pour a little bit on the floor, and I'll pour a little bit on the floor, just because I want to just like have the concrete keep it cool. Because once it heats up, the material heats up, then it starts to just set. Because with heat, it sets really quickly. So what I'm gonna do is cut the edges, right? So I'm gonna do like all the cutting on the edges, what we call it cutting. So you grab the brush and you just kind of angle it against the wall at a slight angle. So I like to grab it like a pencil. So I'll grab it like a pencil and slightly push it against the wall where it's just touching the wall just slightly. And I'm going slow right now just to show you, but you don't need to go this slow. And mostly because you have fast curing material, you want to move quickly. The more you angle it up, and pressure you have. See how I scrape it all with me? So you want to be wary of that, and you can also feel how much material there is. So the lower I have the angle, the less material I'm going to take with me. But so I'm going to leave it angled like this, and you'll see the difference when I just bring it a little bit. It's just because the squeegee is stiff, so it's going to be catching some corners more than others, but we just needed enough just to cover the floor. Just keep moving. And it doesn't matter if it stays like that, because at the end of the day, you're gonna roll it with your roller. But like the reason that's why I'm using a squeegee like this on a base coat for flakes, it doesn't matter if the squeegee is stiff, because like I said, the roller will roll it back and forth and finish it off. I'll show you right now. So your first pass with the roller is just to kind of even out everything, kind of smooth out all the parts that we didn't catch. So you hit that, you use that to like even everything out. So he's gonna follow behind me. It's kind of nice to have, you see how it's cooking already?
Yeah, I saw that.
See?
That's crazy.
It's already heating, and that was in the bucket. That's why I'm telling you, it's important just to pour it on the floor so it doesn't dry on you. If we would have left all of this material inside of the bucket, we'd be screwed right now because the material would have dried. When you're flaking, you'll see right now how he just grabs a pinch in his hand and just throws it up into the air. Don't throw it at the floor, throw it into the air, because what happens is it allows the chips to break apart and to kind of create like a little cloud, and it falls onto the floor. And that's what makes it look pretty, because if you just, Santiago, show them how it looks like when you just like shoot straight to the floor. Just no. Just do like this, just like throw it like this at the floor like this, yeah. See how you just bunched it up right there? You don't want to do that. You want to just throw it up in the air where it creates like a little cloud, yeah. And it creates a better broadcast. It's called broadcasting. You want to broadcast nice. So that's pretty much it. We put the base coat, we grinded it, we flaked it. So now we gotta let for this to set and dry. And once it's set and dries, we're gonna grab a scraper. We have the scraper right here. There's different kinds. You can get this at Home Depot, I think. Is this where we got this from Home Depot? Yeah. So you grab one of these and you just scrape the surface at an angle. You don't wanna scrape at it directly. You wanna scrape it at an angle just to kind of remove all of your excess that you have on the floor and to kind of smooth some of the spiky parts. You see how they kind of stick up a little bit? Mm-hmm. So you wanna use, that's the whole point of this blade, is to just kind of cut them down and kind of smooth it down a little bit, and then remove all the excess, vacuum it all up, and then seal it, and that's straightforward. I like to check the way it's like dried for flake floors. It's like I showed you earlier, you just kind of scrape off a little bit, and you try to move it. Yeah. Like you just press hard, press like on it, and see if it moves, and if it doesn't move, that means it's dried. Now that's solid. Now we're gonna clean off all the excess, scrape it and everything, and then we'll start sealing it. This is literally the fastest part. So then, at an angle, from an angle, you just, instead of like this, because if I do it like this, I'm gonna get stuck. So you have to do it at an angle, because the whole point is that you're just trying to cut the surface. So that's the reason why I use a scraper. And you can't just use a scraper like this, because you're just gonna get stuck. So if you have it at an angle, you see the moment it gets stuck there, just pull back and kind of lower it a little more and then push. Same thing as like how I do my squeegee. This is my lever, this is my pressure, same thing. Yeah. But now that we've scraped it, I always recommend scraping it twice. We only scraped it once and then we vacuumed it. But it's gonna be nice because it's like a lighter color and we scraped it really hard. But always, like rule of thumb, scrape it twice. So like scrape it once to remove it, blow it, pick up your trash, and then scrape it one more time just to kind of really smooth it down some more, and then vacuum the whole thing. The smoother you leave the chips, the less sealer you're gonna have to use, but the more textured the chips are, the more the sealer is gonna absorb. So just keep that in mind when you're doing the floor too. So So like I've always said, start from the back and work your way forward. So like if we working from here, you're gonna start from over here and just work your way out. Super simple. Nothing too crazy. Yeah, so right now you're just doing the cutting. And like I said, put a little pep in your step for sure, because even though this component does dry slower, you're still on the clock. And then you can do this joint right here too. Yeah, do that one, and then he can go hop onto the other side. Just pour a little bit, don't pour too much, because like we're gonna do square by square. Because you want, like I said, the whole goal is to leave it nice and consistent throughout the whole floor. So like I'll jump to this square, to this square, to this square, to this square, to that square to work my way out. So like I'll start off on the back side and just squeegee it up a little bit. See how I'm not scared. Don't be so, and another thing is relax. When you're using the squeegee, relax. Don't be so stiff. You can just relax, because like, it's not that deep. So you just, just squeegee it, just do all the edges. And you don't have to put a lot of pressure on this, just a little bit. So you just want to like.
That seems to move easier too than what Epoxy was.
Yeah, the sealer moves a lot more finer. It's a lot more easier to use. This is kind of like the similar consistency of like the metallic epoxy that we use. It's like nice and liquidy. So you want to make sure you cover all your edges. So go around the entire perimeter of the edge. And if you have extra like this, what I like to do is just like I scoop it and then kind of flick it over like that.
That look a lot easier than I think it is.
So that extra that I have, that I just finish out the rest of the floor just like this. I finish right there. So then I just pour a little bit, so I don't have to flick it again. That's probably too much though. I end up having to flick it. So.
You can kind of see too where.
And you see, my goal when I use a squeegee, when I use the material, is like, you always want to have the material like in the center of your squeegee. So if I'm pushing the material, like I'll have my squeegee far out. So then when I push the material, it kind of stays there, and I kind of angle it to an angle so it doesn't roll over this edge. Because I want it to work. And I always have an angle on my squeegee. I never have it straight. When I'm moving, I never have it straight. I always have it slanted at an angle. Allows me to like maneuver it a lot faster and push it up. And then you always want to fill up the roller, because you don't want to just straight use a roller, because what happens is the roller is dry. And when you start to just roll onto the floor, you remove the sealer. After I just already squeegeed it. So now it's just to like let it nice and thick and then just finish it off.
Are these lint-free rollers?
Yes, lint-free rollers. You want to buy lint-free always. So his first roll is what we call as a back roll. It's just to like smooth everything out, like fill in all of the gaps. You kind of see that gap where I missed right there. You kind of see that gap that I missed right there. So the whole point is just right now, it's just gonna fill in everything. Yeah, smoothing everything. And then we do a back roll. So a back roll is the final roll where we just finish off everything, leave everything nice and even, consistent all the way through. So the first roll, it's just like a pre-roll. You just roll everything out, make sure everything's nice and full. I'll let you finish it.